on his looping cursive and stamp it with his fancy gold seal. Aster didn't know every guard on Matilda, but the ones she did wouldn't dare deny a pass issued by Heaven's hands made flesh. As it was, the surgeon hadn't spoken to Aster in 3.5 weeks, not since the start of the blackouts. No surgeon, no access to Matilda's upper decks. No upper deck access, no heat. "It's like a star, see?" Flick said, shaking another lantern, setting off its chemical show. Aster looked at the lantern, then at Flick, then at the lantern again. "I'm afraid I don't." "A star's a bunch of little things coming together to make light, yeah? Chemicals and all that. And our little special jars here is a bunch of little things coming together to make light too. Also chemicals. Agree or disagree?" "Agree," said Aster, familiar with the basic chemistry from studies in astromatics. "So they're the same. Chemicals plus more chemicals makes magic," Flick said, tongue sticking out. Aster admired the child's sureness, if not their utter wrongness. "Your model lacks specificity and is therefore useless," she said, speaking more harshly than intended. This close to the end of the day, she lost the ability to modulate her naturally abrupt manner for the comfort of others. "According to such a theory, a suitcase would be no different than a bomb. Sugars and synthase react to make the cotton of the luggage. Oxygen oxidizes gunpowder to make an explosion. Chemicals plus more chemicals makes magic, describes both scenarios rather well, but of course, we know a suitcase is nothing like a bomb." Flick blinked obstinately, and Aster searched for a child-appropriate explanation. "You're arguing that a person is identical to a dog because they've both got bones and blood." "Guards be calling Tarlanders dogs all the time," Flick said, hand on hip. Aster twitched at the sound of the familiar word. She hadn't heard it in ages, but it still stirred a sense of belonging. Tarlanders were the inhabitants of P, Q, R, S, and T decks, and it was as close to a nation as anything on Matilda. "The guards are hardly a compass by which to measure right and wrong," said Aster. Flick's eyes opened in what was presumably mock shock. "You gonna get struck down for saying that, woman? Don't you know that Sovereign Nicolaus is the heaven's chosen ruler? And that the guards are Nicolaus's soldiers, and by extension, soldiers of the heavens? A spurn to them is a spurn to the heavens direct," Flick said in a high-pitched voice. "Well, let's hope the heavens exact vengeance after I've amputated your foot. I wouldn't want you, righteous defender of the moral order that you are, negatively affected by my sacrilege." Without meaning to, Aster smiled. "How about if you promise to do my surgery up good? I'll write a letter to the guard begging they spare you. I've been practicing my vocabulary, and I already know what I'm gonna say. Want to hear?" Mischief drew Flick's face into a sly grin. "Dear sirs," Flick began before loudly inhaling, "on account of there being no heat down here, on account of there being no electricity, on account of the brand new energy rations so thoughtfully and nobly and honorably imposed on the steerage decks by Sovereign Nicolaus, on account of the blackouts, Aster fell prey to a brief fit of hypothermia-induced delirium and spoke out against you in her madry. She's healed up now, so you don't have to worry about it happening again. Yours humbly, deferentially, meekly, and respectfully, Flor Flicker Samuels." Flick erupted in laughter and took a bow. "Opinions?" "Your sarcasm reveals clear disregard for the sanctity of the Sovereign's guard, which I appreciate," Aster said, blowing into her cupped palms before vigorously rubbing them together. As much as she enjoyed the banter, their conversation proved a distraction against resolving the matter of the cold. "You can have my mittens if you want."